Good evening. Good evening. This is D.Moss. We're on one-on-one with D.Moss, and today we have a very, very, very special guest. She's an organizer. She's an academic, and rumor has it that she's just all around brilliant.
Thank
Good
you.
evening. Good evening. Don't let me mess up your last name. Ipsita Lizardi.
That's right.
I got it.
You got it.
First shot. Here we go. So today we're going to talk education. Typically, when I'm on the air, we talk about social justice, we talk about politics, we talk about health, we talk about all those wonderful things. The irony is, as we talk about education, educational opportunities, educational options, it's all tied into all those other aspects of life that we discuss on a regular basis. So today we're going to talk about the Bay State Academy Public School. Did I get it right?
Bay State Academy Charter Public
Harder.
School.
I was this close. I was
It
this
was really
close.
close.
So let's take a few minutes and if you can just introduce yourself and tell people who you are and what you do and everything, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, great. So my name's Ipsita Lizardi. I'm the development director at Bay State Academy Charter Public School. We are a school that serves students from 6th to 12th grade in Springfield. The curriculum is health science focused. And we have college and career readiness classes and prepare our kids with real world learning to enter the workforce to be influencers in the future.
Oh, I like that. Definitely want them to be influencers.
Yeah.
So explain your role at the school.
So my role is basically to kind of do outreach with external stakeholders to kind of, get the word out about the school and let people understand that we're there. We are a public school, so we're not really doing a huge push as far as like, it's not a private school, so we don't do like those ads and stuff. So it's important to get out in the community and let people know that we are there to serve them. The school was founded by our founding board was basically healthcare professionals and education professionals in the city. So one of the things they found with board members from Bay State Health was that the region's biggest employer was hiring staff from out of the area largely. So there was a feeling after doing some research that the Springfield students weren't adequately prepared for those kinds of careers.
Right.
And so Bay State Academy was founded with the idea of kind of filling that gap and making sure that the students in this city had the same opportunities as students coming from other cities. So that's morphed into what we're very proud of, which is a culture of excellence. So we really set high standards and we expect to deliver the best of education opportunities and equipment to our students.
Okay. So let's talk options in terms of academic options for our young people. Can you talk about that? Because I know it's something that you talk about
Yeah.
often. It's something that you stress. Let's talk about that. Why is it important? Talk about the options for our young people.
So there are lots of different schooling options, and I think it's difficult for a lot of families to know what the right choice is for them. I mean, the truth of the matter is we live in a very diverse city, and it's impossible to have a one size fits all type of an education scheme. So there are a range of schools that fall under the domain of public, meaning they're tuition free and they're open to all. And among those are the district schools, which would be also the magnet schools, and
Okay.
also the charter schools would be, we're not the district, but we're tuition free public school. We still operate under the auspices of the Department of Early and Secondary Education, which means that we still have to follow the same standards and guidelines. There's just some variations with the charters that may work better for some families. For example, at Bay State, families looking to who really are inspired to have their students pursuing a health science career or really want to make sure they're adequately prepared for college, this is the right place for them. Plus, when the students are back in the building, we have longer instruction hours and different types of programming in our building. So it's important. Unfortunately, there is no central kind of area of information where you can access this stuff. I hope that soon we'll have this kind of information assembled in the library so that parents know how to discern between the district schools, the charter schools, and the private schools that are in the area.
Right. And we just recently, I know there's an out of placement school, which is separate from charters and public school, that is also going to be established. And I agree, it's really important. I'm what you call a born again father.
Yeah.
I have my adult kids, and now I have a whole new set. I have a new set of kids.
Right.
So as I explore options, it's like this is critical. So when I ask questions, I'm going to ask in the role, wearing a parenting hat, if that's cool with you.
Absolutely.
So can you just tell people just the difference between a charter school and then Springfield Public Schools?
Charter schools have a governing board, so the differences aren't glaring. The governing board gets to determine direction in terms of academic focus,
Okay.
but and we also get to determine things like programming. So, for example, at Bay State, we have Project Lead the Way, which allows our seniors to experience things like biomedical interventions
Wow.
and hands-on lab things, which is an advanced programming, which it's a nationwide program which we offer at Bay State, which there's different ways by which those kinds of things could be offered at the public school, at the district schools rather, but at charters there's a little bit more kind of variation in what kind of academic focus and structure of student life you can instill in the building. So, for example, at Bay State Academy, also we have, like I said, mentioned the extended hours. For many families, that's a really good option because of their work times. And also because we're 6th through 12th grade, you're looking at kind of a consistent environment. Many kids need that more than the idea of jumping from a middle school building into a high school building, and the change can kind of be disruptive for them.
Right.
So, but the common ground is that we do the same level of accommodations and we have the same standards of academics that we have to meet. For us, we try to exceed them because, as we said, the idea is to strive for excellence, not just getting through.
Okay. Let me ask you, concern for parents in the greater city of Springfield is just in terms of parent involvement, parent engagement, and then parents having a voice.
Yeah.
With the school overall school environment, and then with the classroom. Talk about that.
So that is written into our charter. So all the schools do, I will say that, the district schools certainly do make efforts. Different schools have different kinds of things, but for
Absolutely.
us, and I can't speak to the efforts that they're making.
Yep.
But as for us, it's written into the charter that we must have this component of reaching out to families and making sure, and it's not just families. I mean, I think we've had these conversations about it takes a village. We invite community leaders and industry leaders into the school to directly speak with our students and share their expertise and experience and wisdom with them. And so engaging families and extended families and community is a fundamental philosophy at Bay State.
Right. My nephew goes there. Full disclosure,
Yes.
Big Maxwell. And I tell you, it's interesting as I talked to his dad about the schooling and how well received Maxwell and him as a dad, a single father, engaging in school and his child being involved in the process. And he talks about Bay State Academy. I mean, he's probably one of your biggest advocates outside of the school system because he talks about how great the programming is, how much he enjoys it.
That's great.
Have you received that reception from like a strong percentage of your parents? How do the families feel about the school?
Well, I mean, we're super lucky with our parents.
Right.
The families are, very invested in their children's future, and when they, especially starting in on 6th grade, when they learn how invested we are in learning what their child's passion is and how we can support that pathway in a successful, sustainable way. I think that, and we have, the year of COVID has disrupted everything, but there's, frequent events where parents are involved. And, we have Latin Night annually where, the parents are a big part in bringing cultural awareness to the school from our Latin community. And we have a pretty strong parents council.
Okay.
So, and there's some pretty exciting stuff coming up on the landscape. And, lucky for us, we do have these engaged, intelligent, intentional parents who are really an asset to the school. So it's helpful to us to have folks, and and there are some folks who are just reliably there. Our goal is to really understand each family's come from and what we can do to support sustainable success. So, and I will say this, that's one of the foundational philosophies in the beginning of the school and continues to be in our mission, that as students from Springfield, if you're empowered to be part of the health sciences community on a professional level, and you're also empowered to speak your truth and what's important to you, then you become not just an advocate for your community, but an informer of best practice in the health service industry.
Right. Wow. I'm just trying to think of some of the. I had in my head. I had it all mapped out. I had a bunch of questions for you. Recruitment. Now, how do you recruit families? And I would say students, but it really has to be a family process, as you have stated. Talk about recruitment for Bay Path. I mean, for Bay State.
So it's not really a recruitment process from
Okay.
the perspective of, it is a public school, so we're not really soliciting independent students. We're just putting the word out in the community. That's why awareness is so important for us.
Okay.
Because the more people know us, the more that they know that this option exists, and to explore it as a possibility is a best fit for their child. There are a lot of different components to what, and parents know their kids best. And as I said, we are from a very diverse community, and so different things are going to fit different families. And so it's important to know what all of those things are. And Bay State Academy is one of a lot of great school choices, actually, in Springfield. But we encourage families to look into it as an option for them, especially if, like, the logistics of the hours and the health science focus. That's not all we do. We have a lot of fun at Bay State Academy too. But there's components of our mission and vision that may fit best for some families.
Absolutely.
We want to make sure they know about it.
And I said recruitment, and I'm glad you clarified it. I'm on the board for another charter school, and I'll talk about that on another day with administrators from that school. And I also help the organization that's putting the out-of-placement school program into the district.
Right.
And the word recruitment kept coming up from the Springfield City Council. And I'm not here to slam on them. I love LaTonya Naylor and all of them. But
so do I.
Asking the same question, well, how are you going to recruit? And it's like, it's not about recruitment. It's about raising awareness.
That's right.
Making sure that the community has access to the information so that they can make educated decisions. It's difficult to encourage my kids to make educated decisions when I'm not in a position to do the same.
That's right.
So,
and that's part of the goal in this kind of awareness campaign, if you will, that we've been doing. And that's one of the reasons why I was hired at Bay State, because, our staff is committed to the students. And so largely the staff in the building are spending time, instructing or building relationships with the kids. And so having someone to do external communications I hope, will help Bay State in, will help the city in knowing what kinds of options are out there.
Okay. I was trying to avoid that. Give me 1 second. I'm like, woof. Okay. All right. So thank you for clear. I think that's really critical. Now, you do Bay State Academy, sports, athletics. People go, well, if I send my child to that school, is there opportunity for my child to be involved in sports and arts-based programming and all that stuff? Can you talk about some of that?
Well, yeah, we are a middle and high school, so having a robust student life is really important. And if anybody has questions about sports at Bay State Academy, they can check out Mass Live from last week, where the athlete of the week was our Travis Jordan, our basketball star, who averages 24 points per game. We have a pretty strong basketball and volleyball team and cross-country athletics. But, obviously all of those things are now subject. We're hoping to really build up our athletics program in a big way. But the sports that we offer right now, the students are, student athletes are incredibly impressive. They're disciplined, and your nephew's one of them, and we celebrate them a lot. So
That's awesome. I love to hear that.
yeah. Yeah, they had a parade last year. I just missed those experiences with the students because the boys basketball team was doing so well and they were going in for the semifinals. And so they had a parade around the school. They had our principal was carrying a boombox and leading the kids in the hallway, and everyone was clapping for our Bay State Bulls. Go Bulls!
I made it to a couple of games myself, and I will keep going to games. So,
Yeah, that's great. We love the athletic support, but we also, for you mentioned music and art, we have
yep.
a phenomenal art teacher who really encourages her students to get to know themselves on an artistic level. And some of the work that they're putting out is pretty phenomenal. And if anyone follows our Facebook page, next week we're going to be putting up photos from the work that the students have done. They've put together some impressive stuff, and you know, the imagination that she stirs up in them, I think, is amazing. So art class is standard across the board, and we have had a relationship with Community Music School over the years. Obviously, again, last year has been a bit of a pause on that,
Right.
but we have them come in on Fridays and they teach the children cello and violin, and we have drum instructors who come in, and the kids often bring their passion to that. One of our ex-students, Axel Cabrera, was runner-up for The Voice Latin.
Oh wow.
And so, yeah, so he was really inspirational for our
Really?
children who
Right
are
here?
into music. Yes. And
Wow.
so he was actually leading an after school club for the eighth graders to teach them songwriting. So
Wow, that's brilliant.
it's again kind of empowering the students and celebrating their strengths and giving them a place where they can shine. So yeah, music, sports, art, all of those things are really important. Plus, one of the big factors in it is being we really want our children to be socially aware. We
Yep.
are the school. You'll often hear in the school they're nurturing the leaders of tomorrow, and that's not to say that everyone's going to be lined up to be the governor or the president. Really, it's about taking ownership of your own life and being a leader and not a follower. So it's a counterpoint to not thinking through. So that's one of the reasons we partner with EL Education. So they have metrics and curriculum that measure what we call habits of character. Because to us, and I actually say this to my kids all the time, that one of the greatest things that you can learn from school is how to be a student, and that should be a habit for life. Seeking knowledge and having that humble character trait that will help you to seek knowledge from people who are able to give it to you. And that's it's great to see it built into curriculum in a school level.
Absolutely.
That's what there is at Bay State Academy.
Now you said that's why you partner with EL. What is that?
It used to be called expeditionary learning. It's now
Okay.
called education. It's an educational model which their method is around building those relationships and having some foundational components to it, which are really they're measurable. So things like having mutual respect, having safe spaces to communicate, being invested in each other's success. Those aren't just buzzwords; they're actually measured activities at Bay State
Wow.
through EL education. So how we do that is through crew. So all of the teachers are assigned a small group of students who basically become their family, their children for that duration of time that they have them. And every morning they sit with those kids and they really get to know them, talk about what's going on in their world, what's important to them, what their challenges and their strengths are. We encourage them to ask questions about their background and things that are completely unrelated to academic work so that that trust between teacher and student is built and those relationships get founded on that mutual respect and investment in each other's success. That's a really important thing, which is constantly reinforced. Our teachers also have professional development every week.
Right.
So those kinds of messages are reinforced every week.
Okay. And another question. Um, Culture. When you talk about the diverse population at your school, how do you accommodate the cultural differences so that each child leaves there with a stronger academic sense of who they are culturally?
Right. Um, well, obviously, there's two factors to that. One
Okay.
is the language. So, English language learners are accommodated in our school the same way that they are for the district. So, we have assistants for all different kinds of languages and families of different backgrounds.
Okay.
And the other side of it is that cultural side of it. So, Marilyn Sanchez is our language and culture teacher. So we don't just have a Spanish language class. She is invested in making sure, and she's taken the lead in building this curriculum. That's one of the advantages of a charter school as well. Teachers are empowered to do a lot more kind of innovative things in the classroom.
Okay.
So she took the lead in saying that she didn't just want this to be Spanish language. She wanted it to be Spanish language and culture, and that expanded into world language and culture. So we actually have kids from all kinds of backgrounds, as you well know, as is true in all the schools in Springfield.
Right.
And it's pretty reflective of the city demographics. But so what we do is in these crew sessions, we empower the students to have those conversations about their background. We celebrate, like this month is Black History Month. We will be doing activities to celebrate that and make sure that's part of the students' understanding and narrative. I mean, as a one of those rare institutions with all Black leadership, which I'm very proud of, it's important to make sure that our children are well represented and that they see what excellence looks like from all different forms.
Right. Wow. I, I've never heard. How can I say this? You've gave me a lot, and I hope as we kind of run this for the next week or two nonstop, I hope that people walk away from this feeling the same way I feel right now. I'm like, I have so much information I got to process and digest and process because I
Well,
didn't realize that Bay State Academy did all that.
yeah, well, I mean, I think being a relatively young school, it even among the staff and the teachers, there's a family kind of a vibe. So, the we're really intentional about how we deliver education and how we interact with each other as a family. So, yeah, there is a lot of great stuff going on at Bay State Academy. That's part of, and I'll be honest with you, Dia, there's a lot of great stuff going on at all the schools.
Absolutely.
The really
Absolutely.
fundamental thing is that it behooves every parent, really to every parent's advantage, to find out about all of the schools and all of the options that are available to them. So, and I really would encourage all families to go to Bay State Academy's website, bacps.net, and learn about the curriculum. Give us a call. Once things are back open, we love to host people for tours of the building to come and see what those classrooms look like, where there's those hands-on learning. I mean, we've got classrooms. There was one point of time I remember taking someone on a tour of the school, and one of our science teachers was doing in Project Lead the Way, they have a crime scene unit where they have to kind of, they basically stage a crime scene, and then they have to kind of pick out, they have to do a forensic investigation.
Okay.
So it's fun, but when you're taking a guest on a tour and there's a crime scene in the classroom, that's a little weird to explain. I'm like, no,
Wow.
it's science. It's science, really.
Wow. I really I would love to go there during one of the crime scenes just so I can sit in. I see Rodney Mayfield Sr. says, I love Bay State. It's a great school.
Thank you. We think so too.
That's right. My little well, I can't say my little RJ. Big RJ was there. So wow. And this is good stuff. And I'm so glad that you came on because we have this tendency, we'll promote parties, we'll promote nightlife, clubs, poetry, we'll promote our political ideologies, our religious ideologies. But the one thing we have not done a great job at is promoting our academic opportunities. We'll talk about how important education is and educational opportunities and how it can move our children forward. We talk about students, but we very rarely mention scholars.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
go
I
ahead.
mean, we do want to extend an invitation to folks who want to share their expertise
Right.
to get in touch with me if they can speak in college and career class to opportunities. I mean, you're mentioning things like poetry and music. these are legitimate, genuine passions. Last year, not last year, the year before, we had a poetry slam, and the seniors came up with, wasn't just seniors, through the school. They come up with stuff that you would have been so impressed. I wish you should do one of those at our school one of these days, and I have you come in and empower our kids to really understand what it means to be engaged with spoken word.
Wow, I would love to. I wish I had been there last time around. I was like, oh, that's my
It was
relief.
it was phenomenal. We had the English teacher, the English literature teacher from UMass came down to judge it, and his wife at that time was working at the school as the ELA lead. And so she just she didn't know when she was talking about it initially, she didn't know if any of the students would respond. And she had a remarkable response from students that she really didn't expect it from. But young people are sponges. They want to learn. We have to, as adults, give them those opportunities. And part of that is respecting them as human beings and not dismissing their passions, but finding a way to bring that out.
Right. And I know when I look at my parent circle forever, and Rodney Mayfield's watching, he can attest. We're always talking about, recognizing the potential of our own children and wanting the best that we can get for them. So
Yeah.
we talk about that, but then I'm going to go back to really making, when we talk about opportunities, academic opportunities for our young people, we have to make that a part of our daily conversation.
Oh yeah. I
That
mean,
has,
and as a parent, I mean, those are things that you should be thinking about for yourself from, before your child starts school and at every level of school. What do I want for my child? What does my child want for his or herself? And what place is best positioned to deliver that?
right.
That's discerning choices, and that's the way that we really ought to kind of, and there's a lot of factors in it, but none of the conversation even can begin unless you know everything that's out there.
Right.
We believe we stack up with the best of them. I mean, for us, we're looking at providing Springfield students the same level of rigor and opportunity and tools and training for the teachers that the best of the schools in the world would offer their kids. Because we believe those students deserve it. They rise to the challenge of really tough curriculum. And our teachers also rise to the challenge of knowing that subject matter. We got some pretty smarty pants teachers in our building, but they're also challenged to kind of stay on top of their game, and they do it, and they challenge the students to do the same.
Wow.
So, I mean, I love a lot of the things that are going on at Bay State Academy. Is a very impressive place. I've not had one person walk through the building, meet students, meet teachers, and administrative staff who have said, this is not really for me.
Okay.
So,
and where's Bay State Academy located?
We're on Roosevelt Avenue. The address is 2001 Roosevelt Avenue. It's across from the Smith & Wesson compound.
Okay.
So usually during the school year, we do have busing for the students. Transportation is available. Obviously, there are meals on site. We're serviced by the same company that takes care of the district, which is Sodexo. So the students get, meals every day and transportation same way as they would if they were at a district school. And we have our uniform and our swag, which anyone is welcome to visit our website and purchase because it's all pretty awesome.
And can you share the website?
BACPS.net.
BACPS.net.
Right.
Okay. So, for our viewers, we strongly encourage you, please visit the website, learn as much as you can, find out what your options are. Don't just put your kids on a bus and send them wherever. You do have options, very viable options. And, you want your child to grow up to be as successful as they can possibly be, you have to start planning at a very early age. And as she stated, can't wait till they're in the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. We have some parents, I know during my stay downtown for 12 years, we've had parents would come in and their kids would be in, 8th, 9th, 10th, or 11th grade. And they'll at that point, they're complaining because they don't feel that their child is at a level that they should be at. And it's like, these conversations have to start now. So if I had a student at the school, who would I talk to if I felt that my child wasn't where they needed to be and can help me to make those adjustments?
At Bay State Academy, any number of people. The first point of entry would be with the teacher, and the teacher would then probably move on to our instructional leads. There's lots of levels of support for students. that's one of the things about the curriculum, because it is kind of a tough curriculum, is we understand that it's challenging to reach those that level of accomplishment, but we haven't had people really fail at it. It's just a question of finding the right way to communicate to them.
Okay.
So
And let me be clear. I'm not assuming that, there are kids that weren't. I'm just saying, hypothetically
yeah,
speaking,
yeah.
just the
Oh yeah,
process. I want you to talk to folks about, the supports
yeah.
that a
There's
family would have.
tons of academic supports. I mean, now during remote learning, we've had literally people, staff and teachers drop supplies off to families, making personal phone calls
Oh,
to make
wow.
sure that the children are staying on track. And even during the school year as well, there's, during, in-person learning, we have lots of different tiers of support, and our guidance counselor has a background in mental health, and so really comes at it from the position of understanding and being, authentically kind of addressing anything that might be challenging to a student's progress, or to a family as a whole's progress.
Okay.
So
All
we
right.
try to get to know the families as much as we can. We've got actually a few of the families hopefully will be joining us for Advocacy Week, where we're going to be talking to some of the legislators in this area about our schools and the need for a consistent, like having options and not feeling like you're being pigeonholed into one way of doing school. And our families are joining us to do that, which is really, it means a lot. It means that we're doing something right. Another thing that I should mention is that being a college and career readiness school, uh, we really want to make sure that our students are getting hands-on experience with internships, volunteer opportunities, hearing from business leaders, and kind of, because I mean, at from sixth grade onwards, children don't really know where they're going. They have some kind of idea, but as many diverse options as they can get speaking to them, something may spark their imagination, be able to build a future. So I really would encourage as many of people as possible to kind of get in touch with me if they are able to share about that. And also, we have 100% college acceptance
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
for our students. This last year, they did a phenomenal job. This year, even despite remote learning, we have 51 seniors that received 174 acceptance letters from 36 different schools.
Wow.
So yeah, and most of them 4-year degree programs. It's just, the students have impressed me, but I'll tell you what, the staff really impresses me with their diligence, making sure that these students don't miss out on their opportunities along the way.
Okay.
So anybody who has any virtual internships or virtual work shadowing or is willing to come and speak in classes, please get in touch with me.
All right. And we've reached the 30-minute mark. I said I want to keep you here all night. I want to make sure you got out that information. And man, you
Right.
dropped a lot of great information.
Well, anyone wants refreshers, any more information, call the school or visit our website. We're happy to chat with you.
All right. And we're talking Bay State Academy Charter Public School. They have a website, bacps.net. Please visit the website. Feel free to call the school. Schedule your tours for when the pandemic opens back up. If you're a professional and you're great at what you do, they do recruit speakers to come into the classroom and share their professional experience, background, all that great stuff. So, they're getting out into the community. They're engaging. Nope, they've been out in the community. They're continuing to stay in the community to make sure that the community is a part of this whole environmental learning process. So if there's anything else you'd like to share really quickly, I'd like to say before you do, I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you. Just one last thing. The phone number is 413-366-5100.
All right, and we are on, this is one-on-one with D.Moss with Ipsita Lazardi from Bay State Academy Charter Public School. Thank you so much. Hopefully this will be the first of a number of times in which we can have you on to talk about the great things that you guys are doing.
Love to. Thank you. Thanks. And thanks for all the great work you're doing, Dee.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful night.